More fun in the morning with Brody and Samantha, weekdays on QX 104. Now our A modifieds are scheduled over in the staging area. Our first of two heat races ready to come on out of there. Starting on the pole, one of our featured drivers, the number 9 with the Ford under the hood, that is Lee McRae. To his outside, the runner-up at the Big Al Delane Memorial Race Friday night past, this is Scott Greer in the Miller Race Engines 5G. Inside row 2 from Devils Lake, North Dakota, he is a proprietor at Devils Lake Speedway. This is Nolan Olmsted in the 4N. To his outside, the A1 Environmental A1, the driver's Ian Russo. Inside row 3, the driver is Danny Staff, the big winner of the Al Delane Memorial. And to his outside, the custom EDM Red 57, that's Kevin Sexton. On the back, James Wall in the 24 car. The Ford is flying tonight, 2 laps down, and he's your leader by a long shot. We have 2 heats in the modified division, so the top 4 cars in each of our 2 heats will get their point average transfer spots for the feature. Nolan Olmsted in the orange and blue number 4 is closing in on the leader at the halfway mark. 4 down and 4 to go, and the Ford continues to lead. Lee McRae at the controls. Nolan Olmsted closing in and is just about right there with 3 laps remaining. Whoa, Scott Greer bounces off the front straightaway wall, but he continues. Look at the race for 3rd place. Kevin Sexton in the 57 car moves to, from start at 6th, he's up to 3rd with 2 to go. Danny Staff, the big winner Friday night of the Al Delane Memorial. Danny Staff started 5th, and he's currently 4th. One to go. White flag in the air for Lee McRae in the flying Ford. Checkers are waving. How about a hand, Ford fans? Lee McRae in the number 9. Second spot goes to Nolan Olmsted. 3rd to Kevin Sexton, and 4th to Danny Staff. That is the top 4 that'll get their point average spot for the feature. Hey, at the start of that one, I missed Derek Aston up on the flag stand waving the green. So my apologies to Derek, but I hope you got a good look at the racetrack from up there. And we have our second of 2 modified heat races coming up. These cars must also, everybody must cross the scale. The top 3 in the heats and the top 5 finishers in the features to make sure that they are of legal weight.
All right, it is time for Big FM Modified Heat number 2 here at Thursday Night Thunder. And here's how they line up. Starting on the pole in the St. Cloud Auto Body number 48. This driver is out of Fanistel, Manitoba. The driver is Jerome Guillot, outside row 1, and the Johnson's Hog Barbecue, Headingley Sport Shop 1R out of Stony Mountain is Rick Delane. Inside row 2, the 29K is out of St. Andrews. This is Ryan Karalik. Outside in the Emery Demolition 10W is Ward Emery. Dustin Strand and Dustin Wall make up row number 4. Dustin Strand in the 71 out of Grand Forks, North Dakota. The 74, Dustin Wall out of Greenbush, Minnesota, and he's battling with Emery at the back of the pack. Your leader, well, it's a close one. Rick Delane and Gio battle, but right now it's the Champ Ventures 48 doing a great job. He started on the pole. That is Jerome Gio leading this one. Karoluk in the Coyote Ventures 29K in a solid third spot. Dustin Wall trying to get a run on Dustin Strand. Great racing between the two Americans for 4th and 5th. Dustin Wall in the 74, Dustin Strand in the 71. That is certainly the best race in the place. Dustin Wall in the 74 out of Greenbush is a world-class ice oval snowmobile racer. Five laps showing on the AIE communications board. Well, Ryan Karoluk may be closing on the 1R of Rick Delane, but the 48 of Gio is checking out on the field. 3 to go on the AIE communications board. Delane running second, Karoluk third, Dustin Wall fourth, Dustin Strand fifth in the 71. Tough break for the 74 of Dustin Wall in the Erico 74 out of Greenbush as he rolls to a stop on the front straightaway with 2 laps remaining on the AIE communications board. Well, Dustin Wall, a world-class snowmobile ice oval racer, Patton, stopped on the front straightaway.
Yeah, that's a tough break. He was running good and doing a nice job there, but we were talking as that race was going on about Dustin Strand, and that race car he's racing right in this heat race is, you're right, a Millennium with Ben Adams power. The motors are built in Grand Forks, as is the car. The late model he's driving this year, he had a Billy Moyer Victory Circle last year. Billy Moyer, for those of that are late model fans, has switched from Victory Circle to what was a Longhorn, which may become a Victory. Carl Performance in Iowa is building, I'm told, Victory chassis, and they're a derivative of a little bit of the Victory Circle, a little bit of the Longhorn, but Dustin and his dad bought the Longhorn from Moyer after last season, and he has it here tonight, and he's been doing real well with it so far this year.
And that's the one in the late model division, obviously. This car, a Millennium chassis. His dad, as you know, Brian Strand, raced for many, many years. Pat did a great job in many different classes over the years, and him and Dustin now work in Grand Forks and take care of a lot of these race cars out on the racetrack for parts and chassis and all the other good stuff.
Well, it's an unbelievably big deal for the drivers that live in Grand Forks and race in Grand Forks and deal with them, because I've seen drivers make a heck of a mess of their race car on Friday night, and by about 4 o'clock Saturday they're putting it back in the trailer and they're going to work because Dustin and Brian have got it ready to race again.
You see much of Brian lately? I haven't seen him around the racetrack, but
see him every Friday, and he's you know, he's farming. He's helping his mom and dad farm out in Brockett, North Dakota, and his mom and dad still live on the farm, so he's helping them out when he can and trying to help Dustin. It's a busy time of year for them right now with the harvest going on and a lot of the late season race specials going on in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Manitoba, so he stays awful busy between harvesting and working on race cars. So at the conclusion of this one, we have the 2-seater coming out. The driver is going to be Grant Hall, and the passenger is Stephen Stanley, the guy that was up waving the flag and took his plaque as our show of our appreciation for their involvement here at Red River Co-op Speedway. So looks like with the cone is out, and we're about 1 to go, it looks like. Apparently we're going right now.
We are under green here in the Big FM Modifieds, and it looks like a bit of a false start, so yellow flag and yellow lights come back out onto the speedway. The 48 was certainly off the corner real quick, but the rest of the pack seemed to lag back a little bit, so they deemed that an incorrect start. So the orange cone will come back onto the front straightaway. They must remain single file, Pat, past that cone.
Plus, it was also about 6 feet from the wall, which is a little close for comfort.
Well, they're not supposed to be passing each other by that cone anyway.
No, they're not, but they're supposed to have the hammer down, so you got to account for a little bit of slip and slide, I think. A wise choice to move it over a little bit. We're going to try it again.
All right, so Jerome Guillot and the St. Claude Auto Body Miller Racing Engines 48 is your leader. Rick Delane is right there in the Johnson's Hog Barbecue 1R, as is Caroluk in the Coyote Ventures 29K, and we are green once again. Watch the RealTruck.com 71 dive to the bottom of turn 1 and 2, but he gets real sideways and loses ground to the 29K of Ryan Caroluk. Your leader remains the 48 out of Fanistel. That is Guillot, followed by the veteran Rick Delane in the 1R, sponsored by Westbrook Manufacturing. So it is the 48, the 1R, the 29K, the 71, and the 10W of Ward Emery. Emery sponsored by Hyundai and Emery Demolition. That is a Victory Circle chassis. Checkered flag is out. Look at the race to the finish. It's going to be the Champ Ventures 48 of Guillot taking the win in this one. In your Big FM Modifieds, Rick Delane will unofficially take second spot. Ryan Caroluk will take third spot. And some pretty impressive modified racing. A lot of veterans in this class, Pat.
Yeah, there sure is. That is for certain, but it makes for good racing. I mean, it makes for less yellow flags, and it makes for some real good wheel-to-wheel, door-to-door, going-at-it type racing. Well, the two-seater's coming out, isn't it?
It is, and we also have Apprenticeship Manitoba with us here today. They have a booth set up. And I want to know, where's our folks from Apprenticeship Manitoba? Are you out in the grandstands there? How many of you race fans like free stuff? Let's make some noise. We've got some Apprenticeship Manitoba swag. Let's hear you make some noise. Come on now, Winnipeg.